Hello, I'm Nora, and welcome back to Novels with Nora. Today, you are in for a day in the life in grad school. Woo! I have done in the past 2 week in the life in grad school videos, but today we're switching it up and doing a day in the life. Because when I do the week in the life videos, I am a yapper, and so I tend to just take like the highlights of the days and put it all together to make the week so that the video is not like 2 hours long. So today we're getting real into like the nitty gritty of what an actual like full day looks like. That being said, I am currently taking summer classes, and summer classes are really something. I took summer classes in undergrad and they are not the same as in grad school. So I thought it would also be nice to show that, because I feel like summer classes are something that you think of as like, oh, like I don't want to take that, I want the summer off. But like summer classes are incredibly important and like really helpful. However, I will say summer classes in undergrad and summer classes in grad school are very different. Okay, I took a few summer classes in undergrad, and this is my first summer semester in grad school, and wow, am I learning a lot. Because a typical semester in grad school is 15 weeks and a summer semester is 6 weeks. However, it is the same amount of coursework as a full 15-week semester, just condensed down into the 6 weeks. Yeah, so it's a lot. But that being said, some background on me. I'm Nora. Hey. I'm currently in my master's program for the Master of Library and Information Science to become a librarian. Yes, you do need a master's degree to be a librarian. And this is my second semester, my first summer semester. And I am taking 2 classes at the moment. I am taking Information Institutions and Professions, which is a core course, and then an elective of Trauma-Informed Sources and Services. Now, today, really, I'll be focusing on my Information Institutions and Professions course because I worked ahead in my other course so that I don't have to worry about it this week, because like I said, it's a lot of work all condensed down into 1 week. So I have my planner here of what we will be doing this week. So this week in total, I have a journal entry, a group discussion, another journal entry, and then I have to submit like a overview of what I'm going to be doing for my next assignment to get reviewed by the professor. So that being said, today's Monday, and I'm going to be getting my journal done, and possibly also a discussion, just depending on how it is, but I'm thinking just the journal today. So that's going to be our main thing. But for the journal, I have to watch the introduction lecture things, the actual lecture, and then do the readings, and then I can do the journal. So a lot actually goes into that one assignment. So I'll be showing you like how I plan everything, what just like a regular day looks like, and just like taking you with me through the day. So now I feel like typical day in the life are like very aesthetic, very like, oh, here's me doing my morning routine, here's me getting out of the bed. Yeah, we're not doing that here. Mainly because it is currently 11:15 a.m. and I woke up at 9:40. Yeah, my alarm is set every day for 9:30, and I snoozed it today, got up at 9:40, and then scrolled on TikTok for a long time. So that's where we're at. However, I will say that's like a very typical thing for me. I wish it wasn't, and I'm trying to be better at like not getting sucked into TikTok in the mornings, but it's so easy to just open it up, and like, especially because like that's one of the ways I keep in touch with the people that I went to college with, is to like we send each other TikToks. So like I want to see what they sent me, I want to like send them stuff, and then I just get sucked in for like an hour. So that is actually very typical for me, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't, but it is the truth. Another thing that is a reality, I'm in my pajamas because I don't want to put on real clothes to just sit here in my house. Yeah, and that's something that I think comes with being in an online program. Could I get dressed and maybe feel more productive because I'm like dressed? Yes. But would I also be uncomfortable sitting here in jeans? Yes. So this is not me showing like what an ideal day looks like. This is what like my actual days look like. So here we are, you know. I hope you don't judge me too harshly for being just a regular everyday person. But that being said, you know what I'm going to be doing today. I hope that we actually do it and I don't get sucked into TikTok anymore. So my journal is what I need to do today. So that being said, I'm going to get breakfast. I'm going to take my little dog out. He's right here. I don't think oh, there's his ear. I'm going to take him out and then eat breakfast and then hopefully get started on this. This class, I'm beefing with this class, okay? Because the professor, she is a retired woman, and she's doing like a lot of like conferences and things and like putting research together to like present at conferences. And it just seems like this class is like not her priority, you know, because there's been so many times where like I've had to be like, this says this, but you're saying this, and her being like, oh yeah, I didn't notice that, sorry. Yeah, so I'm kind of beefing with her, you know. She doesn't know it, of course. So I don't love this class. The core courses are like fine, And I do feel like I'm learning from them, but at the same time, it's like, you know, it's like when you're taking like courses in like college or high school and you're like this is fine and I feel like I'm learning, but what am I gonna do with this? That's kind of how this feels. But like also a little bit more than that, because it's like actually like I am going to be using this information. It just feels like this cannot be the best way to be going about this, you know? So just like not feeling, I don't love this class, but my trauma informed courses and services class, I absolutely love that one. And it's an elective, which is probably why I like it so much more. But it also just feels like that professor is much more like passionate about what she's teaching, where this one it just feels like, yeah, this is what I need to do, so I'm here, I'm going to do it. So that's where we're at with that. I don't love the assignments for this course, and I could go on about how much I'm not enjoying this course. And the thing is, the course isn't the problem. It's really just the way the professor has it organized, because most of these courses were developed by other professors. And then there's just a professor who's like running the course and like grading and like interacting with us. And this woman just is not on top of things. Like we had a big assignment due last week, I think it was. Everything blurs together. And she had given us like a timetable that told us like what parts of the assignment we needed to get done during what weeks, like which weeks of the course. And the timetable said that we had 7 weeks. First of all, the course is only 6 weeks. So already I knew there was a problem. But then also she had unlocked the next module and it said that the assignment was due the next week. I was like, so do we have 1 week to do this or do we have 7, right? So I emailed her and I was like, this timetable is like what she gave us. She was like, oh, I don't see that. Like, can you send it to me and like tell me where you're seeing that? So I downloaded the PDF from the assignment and sent it back to her. And she was like, oh yeah, I didn't see that. Sorry, no, it's due next week. So it's just things like that where it's like, Queen, like you're running this. I should not be having to point these things out. Like glad that she clarified, but then also after that, she was like, do you think you'll be able to get it done this week? What am I supposed to say? No? Like it's due this week. What am I? Anyway, so hopefully this week is a little bit more smooth, a little bit, you know, less bumpy. But now I do actually need to get breakfast. I am using talking to you as a procrastination technique to not have to get up, but I do need to do that. My stomach is grumbling. So let's go get breakfast. Alrighty, we have gone outside. Yes, we have. It is raining and awful out there, but now it is time for breakfast. My go-to breakfast during the week is a bowl of strawberry protein Cheerios. His name is Cheerio, how cutie. But strawberry protein Cheerios with one of these great value fruit and grain cereal bars. They're so good. Today I'm having apple cinnamon. And then also we have a little special treat of a caramel donut. So what a great way to start our Monday morning. Typically when I eat breakfast, oh, I forgot to mention, it is now 11:30. We're going to be doing timestamps throughout this video so you can see how long things take. But 11:30, starting breakfast, which is later than I usually like to do. Usually I like to eat breakfast at 11, but TikTok took that from us today. So typically while I eat breakfast, that is my time to like watch YouTube. So I watch YouTube until I'm done eating breakfast. And then if I'm like in the middle of a video, I can finish that. But as soon as that's done, I have to start working. And that's how I get myself like to actually start working instead of just like, oh, I'll just keep watching more videos, you know? So it's a really great way to keep myself like on somewhat of a schedule. So I try and choose like 30 to 45 minute videos so that it's not like, oh, well, it's a full hour, you know? So try to keep myself somewhat on a routine, especially during the summer. It's a little bit harder, but I do try. TikTok is my greatest enemy though, my biggest foe, if you will. But I'm gonna eat my breakfast, watch my YouTube, and then we will get to work. As I'm sure you can tell by the location change, I have finished breakfast. It is now 12 o'clock. I'm back here, ready to begin. I get to do my favorite Monday task, which is planning my week and figuring out how long each assignment is gonna take and how much time I need to allot for each assignment. So in order to do that, I use this strawberry shortcake notebook. It's just a dotted notebook. And I know that they make like actual like weekly planners, but I already have this notebook. We're just gonna use what we have, you know? This has been working for me so far. So at the top of the page, I write the week. So 6, 9 through 6. I always do the Monday through the Sunday because my assignments are due Thursdays and Sundays. So 6, 9 through 6, 15. And then I start by writing Monday. And I decide what's due first. So like I said, I have a journal and a discussion due on Thursday. So those are the things I'm going to prioritize first. And the journal is just at the top of the thing. So that's what I'm going to start with. So I'm going to read through like the assignment description, and usually the journals are easier than the discussions because the discussions like you have to like read and like make all the connections and post that and then also respond to someone else's, where the journals are usually just like you and like your own connections to what you're reading. This week, glad I read this because the journal is horrible. This week we're focusing on structure of organizations. Yay! And this assignment, first of all, it has 6 questions for this journal, and 2 of them are drawing a diagram. Draw a diagram showing the major functions of the organization. Either use drawing tools within your word processor or draw by hand and scan and upload the image. Right, so now I know that this journal is going to take a little bit longer than it normally would. So I have to include in here that I need to read the introduction posts for the modules. Pretty much, I would imagine all online programs, but obviously I can't say, but all of the classes I've taken have been broken down into modules where each week is a module. And so the module number and the week number usually correspond, and then each module has like a different topic. So, and then in this case, each module usually has like an introduction. For this class, it'll be like, here's what we're hoping to learn this week, and here's what you can do with that information. So there's the introductions, and then there's readings, and then a lecture, and then more readings. So yeah, it's a lot. So I have to do the intros and the lecture, and then normally I would do the readings. However, I found for this class that it's usually like each assignment is directly connected to one of the readings, and so I usually just like wait till I get to that assignment and then do that reading instead of doing them all at once, especially because it usually assigns like 6 readings and only like 1 or 2 are actually relevant to the assignments. So if you saw my tips for grad school video, you know that like my biggest tip is learn how to skim readings and like academic articles and like know what information you need to be like looking for. And I would actually add to that, know if you actually need to read every article. Now I know that that is maybe a controversial thing to say, but at the same time, if those articles are just there to like supplement the reading and like aren't actually used in the assignments, don't waste your time. And like obviously, unless it's like something that you're like genuinely interested in, go for it for sure. But if you don't have a whole lot of time, just read the ones that are connected to the assignments. That is my tip, because otherwise you're spending so much time reading things that aren't really super closely tied to the actual assignments. So I don't actually put the readings on my to-do list because I just do the reading, usually the one that is directly connected to the assignment. So that's a little side tangent. But so for Monday today, I want to do the intros. I want to watch the lecture video just because that is usually helpful. And then I want to do my journal. So that's going to be Monday. And then also for Thursday, I have a discussion that's due. So let's see what that discussion has for us. Let's see. Oh, pretend you are the solo librarian at a mid-sized pharmaceutical company. Okay, so this discussion is really something. Another issue with this course is that the discussions are broken down into class discussions and then group discussions, insinuating that like one of them is like the full class we discuss and then you just have to respond to one person. And then the group discussions always have like extra directions for like how to engage the topic within your smaller group. We were never broken down into groups, and so I reached out to the professor last week, I think, because the discussion was like, within your group, each of you should talk about this one thing and like then all connect to the bigger picture. And I was like, did I miss something? Like, did I miss getting assigned to the group? She was like, no, for this class, like this semester, it's just like the full class. But then there's like specific directions in the assignments for like in your group. So like it even says, within your small group discussion, come up with a goal for which each item could be an appropriate objective. But there is no small group. And like we can't do that as a whole class. That would be insane, because this is like a relatively big class because it's a core course. So it just leaves you being like, okay, so what am I supposed to do in my response, you know? But anyway, that's going to be Tuesday's problem, so you won't have to see that. So then I write Tuesday and discussion. That's the main thing I'm going to be doing on Tuesday. Although, like, it sounds like it might be kind of hard, but also, like, I think it's going to be difficult until I start it, and then it'll all kind of click into place. That's how a lot of things have been, where it's like, I'm reading the discussion, like, assignment, and I'm like, I have no clue what this is even asking of me, and then I, like, read the one reading that goes with it, and I'm like, oh, I got this. It's good. And it's also a lot of, like, I don't want to say it's imposter syndrome, but it's a lot of, like, I feel like this is too easy. And because I've always been told that like grad school is like so much harder than undergrad and it's like so different, so I'm like waiting for it to get like super hard and like to the point where I'm like, I don't feel like I understand what's happening. But because I've been understanding things and enjoying it, I'm like waiting for the other shoe to drop. But at some point I just have to recognize, like, I have been waiting to get to this point literally like almost my entire life. It makes sense that it kind of comes naturally to me because this is like my dream. You know, this is what I've been like striving towards for years. So like, it's okay for it to be easy. Like, not everything has to be hard. And I need to remember that, you know, because sometimes I just make it harder for myself. Okay, so that's that discussion. Next we have journal. Because it's usually 2 discussions and 2 journals a week, I like to try and like stagger it so that it's journal, discussion, so that I'm not doing like journal, discussion, you know? Okay, so next journal. Okay, this one actually, the journals usually are a little bit easier because it's more like you don't really need to like cite a source necessarily, because you're kind of just like, it's like opinion based stuff. So like this one, choose a figure you are familiar with who's in a leadership position. This person could be a leader in your community, a hobby group, or at your work. For the leader you have selected, answer the following questions. What traits does this leader appear to possess? What behaviors does the leader engage in? Is this leader more relationship oriented or task oriented? So just like questions like that you could kind of just like go through. So I think I'm actually going to do that also on Tuesday, because that one is relatively scheduling your week. This is both like a like day in the life video and also like giving grad school tips. So I really hope that someone finds this helpful or fascinating. But with like scheduling your week, you really just like, at first it's going to be difficult and you're going to think you can do a lot more in one day than you can, but like as you go through, you'll start to learn like what you can do in one day and like what assignments you can stack and which ones you need like a full day for. So like that first journal, I know that I'm going to need like, it's going to take the full day between like the intros, the lecture, and that journal. It's going to be a full day event, where with that discussion and then this journal, I know I can do them on the same day and like get them done. So it's just kind of like learning how you work and like figuring things out for yourself as you go. Okay, so now that we know that that is that, so then I'm going to go to Wednesday. Oh, there's only 1 discussion this week. It's 2 journals, a discussion, and then review assignment 2. Exciting. That's actually really good, because then Wednesday I'll be done. So review assignment 2 is what I'll need to do. How exciting. So I will need to submit the topic for your project and 1 source for my instructor to approve. That seems pretty easy. So for Wednesday, I need topic and source, and then I can just submit those and then I'll be done for the week. How exciting. Let's just make sure that that's actually everything I need, because this class, it's an annotated bibliography that I have to do. So it's not just finding the source, it's annotating that source. Source/annotation. Okay, so now our week is planned, and then the thing is, if I don't finish these on their designated days, I still have Thursday and Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday to move some things back to. So that's exciting. So now that we've done our weekly scheduling, that's just really all it looks like. And I also like doing it here because then I have this space off to the side where if I need to add other things, I can put them there. So happy with that. So today I need to read the intro post, watch the lecture, and then do that journal, which there's also a reading that's attached to that journal that I'll need to do, but I don't anticipate that being too hard. I'm quite good at skimming through the articles, especially because that journal linked to a specific page number. So I imagine that'll make it much easier. So now I will start with the introduction post. I'll give you a little overview of what that looks like. So this is just the introduction post that just kind of says what we're doing in this module and then the learning outcomes. I read the intros. Those are usually just like, in this module, you're going to be learning about this, which you can already get a sense for once you like read the title of the module and then also like the assignment descriptions. So I like to read them just to know what's happening, but also that's like, they're not, you know. So now that I know what I will be reading this week, I will go ahead and watch my lecture. Now, I will say, maybe it's not it's a TED Talk this week, not a lecture. Interesting. Grad school loves TED Talks. Okay, this is probably like the 5th or 6th TED Talk I've had to watch in just my 2 semesters. So, and one of them, oh my God, my last semester was like this freaky like puppet video. The assignment did have to do with puppetry, but I did not like that video. So, let's see. In this TED Talk, the speaker combines ideas of leadership and organizational culture to suggest how organizations and leaders within can be most effective. He links his ideas of the golden circle to a biological understanding of parts of our brain and argues that customers are more interested in why we do something more than what or how we do it. As you watch this, think about how you might answer the question, why do libraries, museums, or archives exist? Think about how we communicate with our users. Would you say we do a good job explaining the why, or do we tend to emphasize the what and the how? Do our leaders inspire us by communicating the why? This sounds like it's going to be thrilling. 17 minutes. And there's no volume.
Better.
There we go. Okay, so I can speed it up. Okay, but I'm going to watch this, and then I'll get back to you and let you know if I learned anything from here. Side note, it's from 2009. maybe he's got something good to say, okay? Let's have an open mind. As expected, I don't really feel like I got anything from that. Sometimes these TED Talks, I'm like, oh, okay, I see how this connects. And sometimes I'm like, this is just a man. He's just up there yapping. And this is one of those. Like, he was really just saying that, like, people don't buy things because you market. I don't know, but I get to cross it off my to-do list. So now all that's left is to do my journal. But in order to do the journal, I need to pull up the reading, page 560. So let me grab something else. I always do my readings on my iPad so that I can have the reading up while also having everything else up on my computer. And I also like to be able to like highlight and things. So an iPad, I bought it before my last semester of undergrad. And I got it was like the tax-free weekend. I got it from like the student section, so it was like already a little bit cheaper. And when my grandma had bought me my computer, also from the student section, you get like a little, I think it's like $150 gift card. So stack those coupons, girlies. You don't need an iPad, but let me tell you, it's been so helpful. And also, I like to play games on it, okay? So I can pull up the module on my iPad and open the reading that I need to get this done. Oh, this reading is a scanned in PDF of a textbook. Yay. And then what I do is I import it from Canvas into Notability, which is just like the note-taking app that I use so that I can like mark it up and do everything. Okay, let's see how many pages. 29. Okay, but the actual reading links to a specific page number. Page 560. Oh. That's not in here. This only goes through 364. Give me a second while I try and figure this out. Okay, I solved the mystery. In doing a bit of Googling, I found that the chapter that was given to us is one chapter of a textbook, like I said. And the terms that we need in order to like fully do this assignment are from page 486, which is not even what it says in the actual assignment, because that says 560, which is the appendix of this textbook. So everything here is just messed up. But this is on page 486, which is not in the PDF that we were given because that only goes to page 364. This is what I'm talking about with this professor. Like, I'm not even sure if it's just her, but the way this whole course is designed is like, things are just wrong. And it's like, I should not have to do this. Luckily, there's a whole PDF of this entire textbook online, but like, we should just be given the right article, right? Like, we should not be having to Google like this. But luckily, I found what I needed. But again, should not have had to do that. But yay, grad school. Okay, so now I can actually read this to figure out how to go about doing this assignment. So I'm going to do a little bit of reading, maybe give you a little time lapse of me reading, and then I can start the assignment. How exciting. As you just saw, I found all the information I needed from that article I had to find online, and then a different article that was fully where it should be. So yay. But now I can actually start working on the journal. So let's open a little Google Doc and let's get to work. I also have to pick which organization I'm actually going to be writing about. I think I'm going to write about the academic library I worked at in college, because we have to pick something that we're like really familiar with. Thank God for the like automatic spell check on Google Docs, because spelling is not my strong suit. Okay, so now that I have all of the information that I need to actually be able to do this assignment, I am just going to type it up and then I'll be done for the day. But my thing is always, I could just work ahead, you know, like I could just do it. And that's something that's so hard with being in an online program, is that there's no like off switch really. Like I have to build that for myself, because like when I was in college, it's like I would go to class and then I'd come back from class. And especially because I was working in the on-campus library, I was able to like get my work done while I was there. So like those were my times to work. And then when I was just like back in my dorm or my apartment, it was like, okay, well now I can do like whatever else I need to do like for me. Where now that like I'm not like actually going anywhere and I don't have like designated times for things, it's like I could just be working all the time. And that's really horrible, you know? So that's why these like the weekly schedule is really helpful, because then it's like, yes, I got my work for today done, but like all of my work for the week will be done by Wednesday, so I don't need to work ahead, you know? It just kind of helps me like see the bigger picture a little bit, which is really, really helpful, because otherwise I would just like keep working until I get everything done like in 2 days. And then I'm like burned out by the end of the week and it's like not good anyway. So I'm gonna do my journal. I'll do a little time lapse of me working on it. I do have it is now like almost 1:30, because after I did my readings, I did watch TikTok for like 20 minutes. I have a bad habit of being like, well, I got a little bit of work done. Let me like watch some TikTok. Yeah, so I'll probably end up doing that as well, but I will update you again, like actually with like a little talking clip once I make some progress here. But I will give you a little time lapse of me working. It is now 2:08 and I have finished all of the like actual written part of this journal. I just have to do like the drawings, which the first one says draw a diagram showing the major functions of the organization. Right? Okay. Anyway, but now that I have this done, I am probably going to take a little break and then get back to drawing these diagrams. I think the diagrams are silly, but you know, it is what it is. I will, you know, do the assignment. I have about like 1 3/4 pages written now, and so I feel pretty good about this. I feel confident in what I wrote, but now I have to figure out how to do the diagrams. The diagrams have been drawn and they're quite silly. Both of these things could have been done just like in like a chart. You know, like you could like insert table, you know, do all that in Google Docs. But I'm going to show you what we're working with here, because I think it's quite silly. So here's the actual like document, right? Like minding its business. And then here we have our diagrams. I hope that she likes these. I hope she likes seeing my handwriting. It is what it is at this point. So now I'm just going to read back through everything that I wrote, make sure it all sounds good, is cohesive, answers all the questions, and then we'll submit. And every time you submit an assignment on Canvas, it gives you confetti, so you'll get to watch that with me. But I'm going to read through, make sure everything looks good. And just like that, as you saw, I submitted my assignment, got a little confetti with rockets this time. The little like emoji that shows up in there is different every time, so that's always fun. But that means that our like big assignment for the day is done. So now I am going to probably just, you know, relax, probably watch a little YouTube videos and then get lunch. And I'll still bring you with me for that, because it's still, you know, day in my life. I wanted to read outside today because I didn't think it was supposed to rain, and now it's raining, so I can't do that, but it is what it is. I'll still read inside. But yeah, so our assignment for the day is done. And this is the part where I'm like, well, I could keep working. Yeah, but you don't have to. You know? I did what I need to do. That was probably like the most difficult assignment this week. I might read about my like big assignment that we have due next week, I think, just to like make sure that I'm fully prepared for that. But I'm not gonna really like do much more than that, because I don't have to. And isn't that a blessing? So I'm gonna relax, get lunch, and then who knows what from there, but you will come with me for all of it. We're now in my kitchen. It's lunchtime. It is 3:30. Today is cold lunch. I go through periods where I'm eating the same thing every single day, and it used to be like a grilled sandwich that I was making with like ham and cheese and onions. Now I'm on like my wrap game. So we got this this like shredded chicken breast, but it's like barbecue flavored, and I just use that with some like cheese, and I make a wrap with it for my cold lunch, because when I'm hungry, I'm not hungry necessarily for a certain flavor, I'm hungry for a texture or a temperature, and today it's cold. So I'm gonna get a tortilla and I'm gonna make my little wrap, and sometimes I have a salad with it, and that would work with cold lunch, but I'm feeling a crunch, you know? Again, with the textures, so if my wrap is like soft, I need to have the crunch with it. You're really getting like the inner workings of my brain here. So with the cheese, I usually only use half a piece of cheese, and I just break it up into little pieces and scatter it around, so like every bite has a good amount of cheese and meat, you know? So there's the cheese. And then I'm just gonna take the meat and kind of just like layer it on here. Because it's shredded, it's a little bit harder, but I just kind of try and do my best to like layer it on here. How's your day going? What did you have for lunch today? Talk to me, let me know what's going on. That's another thing about doing online programming, is that like it can be kind of isolating. Luckily in the summer my brother's home from school, so he's here during the day, but like it's just me all the time. Luckily we have little Cheerio, and so I talk to him all the time, but like he's a dog, he can't talk back. So like that's another reason I started this YouTube channel, was because I knew I was going to be doing online grad school and I wasn't going to have anyone to talk to during the day for the most part. So the YouTube channel really gives me like an outlet of like, I can talk about what I'm going through almost like we're in class together, kind of. So even though I'm like technically missing that like human interaction, I kind of still have it through this. So that's been really nice. And I'm glad to see that people seem to be enjoying my grad school content. I'm enjoying making it, so I'm gonna keep doing it, but it's also nice to know that people are actually like watching it and enjoying it. But I'm having a good time. It's nice to like it's also a hobby for me, so it's nice to have something like outside of just school to be doing with my time, you know? Okay, so now I'm just gonna wrap this up. I like to do a nice tight wrap, you know, make sure everything's like really in there, and then cut it in half. And there's that. And then I can eat the other half of the piece of cheese that I had, and I'm gonna look and see what kind of side I can have with this. I found some plain kettle cooked potato chips, so that's what I'm gonna have. Oh, and there's not that many left, so I will just be finishing this bag. Okay, so I got my, you were in the cabinet. I got my chips. Oh, I got my chips. I filled up my water bottle. Now I am going to eat my lunch and then watch some YouTube while I do that, because that's like my little thing. And I don't know what I'm gonna do after that, so I will catch you when I'm done with lunch. Surprise, surprise, we're back in the chair. It is now 4:41. I finished my lunch, then my dad came home, talked to him for a little, watched a little bit of YouTube, and then I read through the assignment description for our assignment 2, which is like our next like big assignment for the course. First of all, yeah, it doesn't seem like a hard assignment by any means, but it does say in here, oh, let's see if I can find it. You will have the opportunity to submit your topic and one source in week 9. This course is only 7 weeks long, 6 or 7. So there is no week 9. And also we're submitting our topic and one source this week, not at all week 9. So it's just like, this course was clearly designed to be like a full semester long course, and like was not really adapted well into being a summer course. And like someone just like didn't go through, like someone should have gone through and like made sure that stuff like that wasn't in here anymore, and they didn't. So like it doesn't really affect anything. It's just annoying, because then it's like, oh, week 9, like what are we doing? It's not week 9. So anyway, this assignment we have to do like an annotated bibliography, which we only need 5 sources though. So well, I had finding the sources and doing the annotation on Wednesday. Usually finding the articles is like the hardest, longest part. So while I'm sitting here just watching YouTube, I can be going through the different like journal platforms and like trying to find articles, especially because I'm not entirely sure what I want my topic to be, and my topic selection is going to be based upon how easy it is to find sources for it. So while I sit here, I am going to be looking for different journals that I can use, because they have to be like peer-reviewed academic articles. So I'm going to be doing that while I read, or while I watch YouTube, and then soon enough it'll be time for dinner. I know it feels crazy because I like just ate lunch, but I like a light lunch, like a bigger protein-packed breakfast, a light lunch, and then like a medium-sized dinner. So I am going to, like I said, watch some YouTube, find some articles hopefully, and just keep trucking along. So I imagine I'll probably do this for like an hour-ish, and then we'll go from there. Hello. Okay, It is now 6 o'clock. I found like 7 or 8 articles that I'm going to dig a little deeper into at a later date because I only need one article with like the annotation and the citation for Thursday. So I'm doing pretty good, especially because I found like quite a few things that I think will work, at least for the topic that I have in mind currently, which is like women in leadership positions within libraries, which might be, or like barriers to women in leadership in libraries, but it might be too broad for what we're doing. So we'll read these articles at a later date. But like I said, 6 o'clock, dinner's in the oven, articles have been found. I'm having a great time. I made myself a little queue to watch through this like playlist of things on YouTube. I'm having a lovely day. My work is done, my family's home, dinner's in the oven. What more could you ask for? You know, it's been a really great Monday. This is a very typical Monday for me where I'm like getting work done, but then also like prepping work for the rest of the week. So it's been a very typical day. I will probably check in with you again after dinner, but so far it's been a very good day. I'm glad that you got to come with me for it, but we do have more to do. Not grad school related though, just kind of like life stuff, but I'll bring you with me. I struggle with that every time, but I'll bring you with me for the rest of the day so you can see just like what a full day looks like, and we'll just keep trucking along. It is now 8 o'clock. I have eaten dinner. I spent some time with my family. I watched a little YouTube, and now I'm here to wrap up our evening because I usually go to bed between like 10 and 11, somewhere in there. So I still have like a good 2.5 hours of my evening, but I'm going to spend that time reading. I'm currently reading Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings. I'm only like 60 pages in so far, but I'm enjoying it. I'm having a good time. It's kind of a thick romance, but I am excited to read this. It's sunny again. Randomly now at like sunset time, it's sunny. Ohio weather is crazy, but I'm going to just spend the rest of my evening reading, and that's probably all I'm going to be doing the rest of this evening. I'll probably read a little and then probably watch a little bit more YouTube, but that's how my evening's going to look. That's how most of my evenings look, because I think it's really important to have like a clear cutoff of like, okay, I'm done working now, because it can be so easy to be like, well, I still have like 2 hours before I'm gonna go to bed, so like I could chip away a little at like my next assignment, but also like it's 8 p.m. If I was literally anywhere else, I would not be doing this work right now. So just because I'm at home and technically have the time doesn't mean that's how I should be spending the time. Yeah, and that's something that I've really had to like work on like within myself, because it can be so easy to be like, well, I don't feel productive because I could be doing things and I'm not. And like sometimes I want to do the work and like that's what feels like, that's what I want to do in the moment, and like that's totally fine. But on nights where it's like I don't want to do that, and like the assignments are not like, especially this week when the assignments are just like, why is that the assignment? Why do I have to draw a diagram? Like I don't want to push myself to do that at night and then put myself in a bad mood, you know? So I really make a point to like try and like get my work done in the morning, and then so I can have the evening to do things like reading or watching YouTube or like doing other things that fulfill me in a way that school doesn't. Because while I do find school to be fulfilling and like doing assignments is like really fun for me actually, and I really like learning and I love getting to cross things off my list, I also need to have that cut off between like school time and like home time, because I don't have like the actual like physical distinction anymore, especially because I'm in my chair all the time. So I am going to read. I think I just got the audiobook through Libby for this, and I think I'm going to put that in because we do have 2 perspectives of like both of the main characters. So I think the audiobook will be really nice. But that is going to be all for me. Thank you so much for being here this week. If you enjoy grad school content, if you enjoy reading content, I'm the girly for you, because that's what I post here. So I would love to know if you're in grad school, if you're in any type of school. I'd love to know what you're studying, what your plans are. Would love to chit chat with you, because again, this is like my social aspect, because I'm in an online program. It's really nice to be able to like actually talk to people in my comments, so I'd love to see you there. But otherwise, I hope you subscribe, stick around for future content, because I do vlogs quite frequently, so I hope to continue to see you on my channel. But you're going to get a nice little clip of me reading to end out the video.